A shocking revelation has emerged from Tanzania, where the main opposition party claims that approximately 700 lives have been lost during 3 days of election protests. This devastating news sends a chilling message about the state of democracy and human rights in the country. The protests began on Election Day, with demonstrators taking to the streets to voice their concerns over the exclusion of key opposition candidates from the presidential ballot. The stifling of opposition voices has sparked widespread anger and frustration among Tanzanians, leading to a series of violent clashes with police and the destruction of property linked to the ruling party. John Kitoka, a spokesperson for the Chadema opposition party, paints a grim picture of the situation. He reports that the death toll stands at around 350 in Dar es Salaam and over 200 in Mwanza, with the overall figure reaching approximately 700 across the country. Kitoka emphasizes that the true extent of the tragedy may be even higher due to the imposition of a nighttime curfew, which has limited access to information and potentially concealed further killings. A security source, speaking to Agence France-Presse, AFP, corroborates the high death toll, estimating the number of fatalities to be between 700 and 800 nationwide. Amnesty International has also received reports of at least 100 deaths, further underscoring the gravity of the situation. Kitoka explains that Chadema's figures were compiled through a network of party members visiting hospitals and health clinics, where they counted the bodies of those killed. He demands that the government cease its violent crackdown on protesters and calls for the establishment of a transitional government to ensure free and fair elections. Stop police brutality. Respect the will of the people, which is electoral justice, Kitoka urges. The Guardian has reached out to the Tanzanian government for comment on these allegations, but has not yet received a response. The election, held on Wednesday, was expected to solidify the power of President Samia Suluhu Hassan, who faced little opposition due to the disqualification of key challengers. In April, Tundu Lissu, the vice-chair of Chadema, was arrested and charged with treason and cybercrime offenses. His party, which had advocated for an election boycott unless electoral reforms were implemented, was subsequently barred from participating. Last month, Luhaga Mpina, the leader of another opposition party, ACT Wazalendo, was also disqualified, leaving Hassan to face only lesser-known opponents from minor parties. The lead-up to the election was marked by a wave of repression, with government critics subjected to abductions and arrests. Since Wednesday, massive crowds of protesters have engaged in violent clashes with police, attacking officers and destroying property associated with the ruling party. The demonstrations, initially centered in the port city of Dar es Salaam, have since spread across the country, reflecting widespread discontent and a breakdown of trust in the electoral process. In response to the unrest, the government imposed a curfew and disrupted internet access nationwide, according to the Global Monitor NetBlocks. On Thursday, the army chief, Gen. Jacob John Nkunda, condemned the violence, labeling the protesters as criminals and pledging that security forces would work to contain the situation. Demonstrators on Friday faced a heavy police and military presence, indicating the government's determination to suppress further protests. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, has expressed alarm over the deaths and injuries resulting from the protests. The OHCHR reports receiving credible information about at least 10 people being killed by security forces, with further deaths confirmed in Dar es Salaam, Shinyanga, and Morogoro. Security forces have been accused of using live ammunition and tear gas to disperse protesters. Sif Magengo, a spokesperson for the OHCHR, has urged security forces to refrain from employing unnecessary or disproportionate force and has called on protesters to demonstrate peacefully. Tito Magoti, a human rights lawyer, has condemned the use of force by security agencies as unjustified and has called on the country's president to refrain from deploying police against the people. She must listen to the people. The mood of the country is that there was no election. We cannot vote for one candidate, Magoti said, reflecting the widespread sentiment of disenfranchisement among Tanzanians. This tragic situation in Tanzania raises serious concerns about the state of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law in the country. The high death toll and the government's response to the protests have sparked international attention and condemnation. As the situation unfolds, the world watches with concern, hoping for a peaceful resolution and a restoration of democratic principles in Tanzania.